If there's one complaint against this season that I don't think many people can make, at least not very well, is that we are lacking in variety. Drifters gave us gory action, Flip Flappers is giving us insanity, Keijo is fan service, Yuri on Ice is drama-based man service, and then we have Izetta the Last Witch, which gives us lesbians. So Crunchyroll asked me to share my thoughts on Izetta the Last Witch, a show that was not on my radar. You might remember my anticipated list for the season earlier, and that Izetta was not on it. It just didn't make me excited pre-season, which was the whole point of that list. And then I watched it. Izetta is more or less a modified biography of World War II, with countries that have slightly different names, but are all more and less playing the same roles. We have Germania as the aggressors, Britannia as the hopeful allies, the United States of Atlanta watching from the sidelines, and the main country itself is a proxy for Western Austria. However, in this anime, they of course are putting up much more of a fight this time around. The show seems to be trying to tell a what-if story, keeping many of the history changes minimal until the introduction of the titular witch. So the story is, what if the Germans of World War II were opposed by a mythical witch? But since Crunchyroll is sponsoring this video, allow me to do something hopefully not entirely unexpected and give you some reasons of why you might not like this show. See, while the series starts off very strong, showing off its headstrong princess protagonist followed by the clumsy yet good-hearted witch, after the introduction episodes, the spectacle starts to fade somewhat. The more recent episodes feel like we are just getting the boring side of history. It takes this interesting idea of having a witch in World War II, but not really exploring it in any equally interesting ways. One of my major complaints for that is resting solely on the antagonists. The leaders of the Germanian Empire don't have much character to them. No flair, no nuance, just a bunch of evil guys being evil because that's the role they need to fill. Sure, all of this is peppered with some, to be fair, well-animated action, but worse is that we are continually getting more fan service in lieu of actual proper development for our characters. Now that said, and I'm putting a bit of a pause here to let you know that we've moved on from the bad, this is the point where, in spite of all the previous points I just made, the show is sitting currently in my best of season slot. Gasp! Shocking, isn't it? Sure, if the problems don't get addressed, then it's going to be leaving that slot right quick. But until then, I've been enjoying this show far more than I expected. So why is that? Well, it is true that some of the characters are not extremely inspired, like, say, Princess Fine, for example, because she's a lot of like what you would expect out of a traditional strong independent leader. But we have, as a balance, Izetta, who breaks from the traditional Mahou Shoujo mold. Instead of using magical light attacks, she controls military hardware. She attacks planes with medieval lances, uses flying torpedoes to take down targets, and flips tanks over for the hell of it. On top of which, instead of a broom, she more or less turns an anti-tank rifle into a speeder bike from Star Wars, and that is fucking awesome. While a lot of things like tactics and strategy are the boring bits, unless you're into playing RTS games on the side and have arguments of whether or not Brood War is the definitive RTS, spoilers, it's not. I do like how the show reminds us of how propaganda was used in that particular era. In World War II, the US, for example, loved to use propaganda films to accent the power of the US military against the Axis powers. So to have similar propaganda used here to showcase Izetta's powers was an interesting little bit that they threw in that I appreciated. Just in general as well, if you know about or have a passing interest in the history of World War II, then this show becomes an interesting game of find the similarities, which I've enjoyed playing so far. But now here's what I'm hoping from future episodes. A lot more development for the main characters, yes, like Fine, but also more importantly for the antagonists. They seem far too much like villainous cardboard cutouts rather than actual threats, so fix that. Plus, and I know this might be a little bit difficult, but if pulled off, then we could have something amazing here. Have our protagonists fight back. Right now they are playing entirely defensive, and if they keep that up, eventually it's just gonna break down. We already have 7 episodes out of the 12 that we are expected to get, and right now I can't see the ending. Based on how the show has paced itself so far, it does not seem like we were going to have a proper conclusion at the end of episode 12, and that could be a problem. Should you watch Izetta the Last Witch? Yes, it has one of the best opening episodes of this season. The action is well done, the setting has quite a bit of potential, and for the moment, Izetta is my favorite anime of this season. I don't know how long that's gonna last. I said previously that I always hope for a new show that comes off of my radar and suddenly becomes amazing, and this series so far seems to be doing just that. But you know me, the ending is paramount. If you want to watch Izetta, you can, in dub over on the Funimation's website, as they hold the license at the moment, and over on Crunchyroll in sub if you'd prefer that. Free trial in the description for Crunchyroll, as per usual. And what did you guys think? Let me know down in the comments. And if you are watching from some future place and time, no spoilers, please. Until next time, ladies, gentlemen, and others, stay frosty.